Welcome back to the garden. You know, we grow a lot of plants in pots and they multiply and we separate them. This particular variety here looks pretty rough right now, but some of you may be familiarized with the foxtail fern. This one just come through a pretty hard winter, but it'll come back, it'll thrive. I'll show you right here something. These things are sticky, probably should have on gloves. What makes these good for drought areas, if you look right here, you'll see these little water pockets. Can you see those? Those absorb water. Now you can see that one is really root bound. I'm gonna clean it up a little bit and get all the dead winter stuff off of it, and I'll bring you over and show you how we're gonna do it. We're gonna plant this one in the ground. And to trim it, you can just use a pair of shears or heavy duty scissors, or they're not really that big. We'll get that out of there so we can get some light in there. All that new growth will start popping. We got her trimmed up, got most of the dead off of it. So follow me over here and I'm gonna show you how we're gonna gently separate it. These are pretty residual plants. They're pretty tough, pretty hardy. So we're gonna gently dump it out right here. So what you wanna do is take you a flat bladed shovel, or you can use a machete or a knife, and you wanna put it right here. And now we're gonna step on our shovel and try to cut just straight through. We're a little uneven, but we got her.
That's cool.
Now you can see those water absorbing pods there with the root system. Each one of these should come back and produce a nice new plant. We'll try to loosen up some of those roots. And since they are root bound, we're gonna do them just like we did the others. We're gonna just put a knife in, slice down, and separate some of them roots. You don't have to get too aggressive with these. They're pretty hardy. Now we're gonna put it in the ground. Now here I've dug a simple hole. It's about 3 to 4 times big rootstock that I'm gonna put into this, which is this foxtail fern or cattail or whatever it's called. I've scored my sides. People get carried away about removing the grass. By all means, it would help. I'm fortunate enough that for me, I can put enough mulch on the top that it's gonna kill that grass, it'll break down. I've done that, it works for me. So this is part of a bed, this foxtail that I'm showing you. So that's why you see the grass around it. I'm gonna mulch all this, so I won't have to worry about that. Let me bring you in here a little closer to look at this hole. Not much to it, just a simple hole. Now by all means, if you have the time and the energy, you can remove all this grass and it would definitely help. I don't have that kind of time and energy. If you've been following along, you know, it's a working man's garden, working woman's garden. What I'm showing you here will work, plain and simple. If you've been following along, you know I've been playing with making my own compost. I've took the dirt out of this hole and I've put it into this wheelbarrow, which is on my compost material. Let's go over and I'll show you that. Now here in this wheelbarrow is the dirt that I took out of that hole, this whole floor to sand. And then I've got some stuff that I tried to compost last year. It didn't quite compost, but it did break down. It's more like a nice leaf mold. So now I'll chop that into this. And as I chop my compost in, I'll also remove any pieces of grass, roots, anything like that that will compete against my plant in this hole. Because this will be right around the plant. This will be our backfill. So there won't be much mulch on it to stop the weeds. So it benefits to get as much as you can out. Now, you could do what I'm doing and not reuse your dirt and just go buy dirt if you had that kind of money or that's what you wanted to do. As I told you, this is my dirt out the yard with some more like leaf mold that I made. Compost didn't go exactly as I'd planned, due mostly to my failure. We'll correct that. Matter of fact, we'll have another whole round of composting videos here shortly. Now I like to dig my holes about 6 to 8 inches deeper than my plant and backfill it with some of this that I've mixed up to give them roots something to reach down into, to grow into. Get some good root development deep. Let's get us a shovel full of this, walk over to our hole. We're gonna fill up that first part of that ditch with some of our mix, kind of test fit our plant. What we're looking for here is we want this root ball level with our ground. On this specific type of plant, if you're a little bit shallow, up higher would be better than lower. So we got our height right. Now we're just filling around it. And we could have edged up the edge of these roots a little more on this plant. This plant actually needed to be separated last year, and it just come through a hard frost. So it may take it a year or two to get established. So we'll just continue to fill the dirt in around it. Once you get it leveled off around it, we'll just gently go around. You don't want to stomp it, you just want to lightly pack it in with your foot. We are a little high here. I don't think it's going to make a big difference on this variety of plant. And normally at this point, we border it in good and mulch it. This is actually part of a complete bed that I'm doing here. So we're going to mulch it all in, and I'll show you what it looks like when we're done, if I can remember. And we're going to put a sprinkler on it to let it run, so we're not going to have to worry about that. But if you was just planting a single plant, you need to stop now and water it in. Now those foxtails that I just showed you that we just planted, there's one here and there's one on the other corner. Now these are new that's here. These are a pampas grass that we split, we just bought. It's a muhly or mully grass. We don't really know what that is. Right now this don't really look that great, but you got a picture, the end picture. Behind it is a row of sugar cane that should grow up. These will have the white plumes out of them with the foxtail on each side. And these muhlies or mullies, if you'll look them up, they'll be beautiful. They'll be, I don't know if these will be purple, white, or what color they're gonna be, but look them up, they're gonna be nice. So we're gonna come back now and we're gonna mulch the area around it with some pine straw. Now you're seeing me use pine straw here. There's a lot of debate about what's better. Some people like cypress mulch, some people like oak leaves. I have found the oak leaves do hold the mortar better, but I'm using all my oak leaves for other projects. I'm using pine straw here today that I raked up in my yard. So my suggestion would be, if you're having to buy a mulch type product, I would research not only effectiveness but cost effectiveness. That may play an issue. I don't buy mulch. So now we've got our pine straw in here. 23 of those wheelbarrow loads. I ain't sure what size that wheelbarrow is, but it's pretty good size. Now earlier in the video where you see the caption come across, it said we'll talk more about soil preparation and pre-planting at the end. That's where we're at now. Imagine if you had to buy that much pine straw to suppress that grass underneath. Or mulch, because if you're trying to suppress that much mulch, you can't spread it thin. What you see in a bag is about the size area you're gonna get, so that gets pretty expensive. In that case, if you don't have that natural resource that you can just rake up out your yard, you may want to put some kind of black cloth down with the grass gone before you put your mulch, because then it won't cost you as much. That is something to think about if you don't have those natural resources in the pre-plan. But mostly look and see that you're putting your plants in the right area. Select the plant for the area that you're going to plant. And remember the old rule. Don't put a $40 plant in a $10 hole. Put a $10 plant in a $40 hole. So I'm gonna spread this out here. We're gonna get it all put in. I'll probably need more as I go to help suppress the weeds as things grow. You'll see some weeds coming through. Research the area for that plant. Make sure you get that right. That's the most common failure for plants. We're gonna spread this out right here, get it all put in, and then I'll show you the finished product. Now this bed here is a pretty decent sized bed. It's about 12 by 25 roughly. I'm gonna start in the middle and just rake it out, and I don't want to put my mulch right up to my plant. Now since I didn't put any kind of weed barrier down, I want my mulch about 6 to 8 inches thick, and it's gonna settle. If I get it any less than that, the sun's gonna shine through it. It'll be a consistent battle. I just like to start in the middle of these big beds and work my way out. And the mulch should play a major factor into your cost effectiveness. Consider this. Now we split some plants we already had. We have very little money invested in plants right here, and what you see in this bed, because the one plant we did buy, we got a deal on. But let's just say it's pampas grass. Depending on where you buy that, it's $25 to $50. Let's just say you paid $25 for it. And we split it, so we got two. The mully grasses, $10 to $15. Let's just say $10 a piece. So that's $30. So we're already at $50 minimum. The foxtails, we have zero invested in, but you would pay anywhere from $15 to $25 a piece for those. So it don't take long to see you're already at $100 in plants. That'll seem cheap compared to when you start buying mulch. Factor that in. You may want to put some black cloth underneath. We're gonna finish scattering this out. That ain't even counting the compost you've seen that we mixed in with each plant. We produce that ourselves. That add more to it. So it wouldn't be long right here doing the work yourself. You could have $500 in a bed. I think we got about 20 because we use the resources that's at our hands. So you can see it looks a little rough, but about the first rain, we get the water on it, it'll lay down. That'll be a dramatic backdrop. The sugar cane in the back will give you the privacy to the woods. Then you'll have your foxtails on the side, and your pampas grass, and your muhleys, mullies, however you say it. Anyhow, that's all it takes, a little bit of thought and effort. Get out there. These will multiply. We'll be able to split these up in a couple of years. All you gotta do is get out there and get after it. All you gotta do is get out there and do a little research, get after it. Y'all come back and join us here on the next one. Just as a reference, this is a spot that I just pulled the mulch back. I don't know how well it shows up on there, but the grass was just as thick right here when I put this mulch down last year. So it will kill that grass back. One of the next projects we'll be working on, we got this old kayak that's just overgrown. It's got some beautiful succulents in it. Some aloe, and there's several other that's kind of hidden away down in there. We're gonna get those out and transplant them into a new boat we got in our butterfly garden.